Hey, everybody, my name is Matt Raymond over here at Bowtie Solutions, and Shawn Armorer is joining me again today as we talk about the myths of BDC, outsourced versus in-house. Dealerships are high speed, low drag, right? And everything that they do. So if they have to reach out to a vendor and have an issue, bring up an issue or a concern, the way it's said is not usually how they mean it, right? I mean,
Yeah, because they're just so high strung, go, go, go. And
yeah, yeah. And I mean, listen, we both spent time on the retail side. I get it.
yeah,
That's why I always say just bring me a name, bring me a number, we'll dig into it, we'll go from there. The other side of it is, we have a VP of accounts on our team, and she sets up monthly meetings with these dealers, and we stress to them, listen, we know you're busy, but please make this meeting. We're not going to take up more than 30 minutes of your time. We're going to go over some numbers. We're going to ask if anything's changed, because one of the biggest things is dealerships have staff leaving all the time. So what happens if we have somebody set up to get a parts email and the parts guy is no longer there and we don't know it?
hmm
And like I said, we've got clients. We had our 2-year anniversary this month, and we've got clients that have been with us since day one, and they're still with us. And I take that in a compliment, because I believe it's not because of how great we are or how great they are. It's because of how great we work together. There's somebody said it not too long ago. I think there's 37 outsourced solutions to choose from out there in automotive. Now, a lot of them are sales focused, and then there's some service and sales. And I think we're the only service only one. But at the end of the day, there is
Is it
such
really 37?
37. That's what I heard. Yeah.
Wow.
And there's such an opportunity because there's so many franchise dealers out there, but there's such an opportunity for us to change the customer experience. And
Correct.
when I say customer experience, I'm not talking about the dealership's customers. I'm talking about the dealerships. Because if you were to walk into a BDC and have a radically candid conversation, the way some of these dealers have radically candid conversations with us, which is good. It's like we're going back and forth. We're talking about things. You might take your BDC agent out for the day. They might not feel the love. We have an account executive that gets into all that, right? And she takes all the information, all the stresses they're going through, the frustrations with not having parts in stock after we just launched a campaign, or they only had 2 parts and we scheduled 25 or 20
They
minutes.
give you a list of 500.
Right. It happens. Like, we're all in this together. She takes
Yeah.
all that and then puts a bow on it and gets it out to the reps. And because the whole idea is we need them pumped up all the time in there, because
Correct.
the way they answer the phones is going to directly reflect the customer experience that their customers now have, right? If they're
hmm
if they're smiling when they're answering the phones, and they're, yes ma'am and yes sir and yes please and all, and whatever they're doing. Because I mean, you and I have talked. My background, I started as a dispatcher, before going to work on the road. But when I was a dispatcher, nobody called me to be like, hey, I'm having a great day and I just chopped off my leg in a wood chipper. Nobody, that's not how that call goes.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell them when they call the service department. You have 2 phone calls. You have urgent care, basic maintenance, and you have the ER. This thing's chugging and bucking and smoking and whatever else, right?
Correct. Correct.
And then you take one of those 2 situations and take their child, put their child in the car and put them broke down on the side of the road. And
Yes.
that phone call goes 0 to 60, right?
Yes.
And this is why, and here's my little shot at AI, and I believe AI and humans need to work together, but here's where AI fails. It does not pick up on the empathy that needs to happen at that very moment, because AI is going to go, oh, our schedule's booked out for the day. I can get you in 3 days. And the customer's like, you got to be stinking kidding me. This
Yeah.
is this is where our agent gets on the phone with the service manager and goes, hey, I've got Shawn. He's got service history out the whole list of it. It's like 20 appointments over the last 6 months. He's got a car problem. His daughter's broke down on the side of the road. I already gave him the number to the tow truck company, and we're working on connecting them everything right now. They're going to be towing the car in. Like, you're
Yeah.
almost forcing the appointment in on them, right?
Yeah.
I mean, does AI know how to go? Yeah, just bring it on in and we'll get this figured out. Does it AI
Yeah.
know how to give the number to the preferred record company, right? And I'm not taking a shot at AI, but it is designed to handle the phone call.
I say, and you know what? You bring up such a good point. AI has its place. Is it going to evolve? Of course. But currently, right now, to your point, because I'm faced with this all the time, a lot of my clients are calling me like, hey, Shawn, listen, I just got this call from this AI company. I'm like, look, put me on the phone with them because I consult with them, right? And I'm like, look, put me on the phone with them. I understand our ecosystem. Let me vet them. And then I started asking questions to no fault of their own. You got a salesperson that's trying to, sell AI, right? So AI currently right now, from what I've seen, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you've seen different, but it's really good at what it does, but it's very binary. Like it's very binary in the sense of if this, then that kind of thing,
Yep.
shy of having empathy. And that's essentially what's the difference between it's a people business. 100% of your customers are people. 100% of the decision makers are people, and 100% of your employees are people. So if you don't know people, you don't know this business. So it does have a place, but it's just not at the forefront. And to go back to what you're saying real quick, precisely what you said, and I love that. You call it, potato kind of thing. You call it ER or maintenance, right? I have a similar kind of approach with regards, we were talking before about the onboarding. This is where you really sit with that new employee and you really truly make them understand they're not all calls are the same. However, you need to be perfect on every call because every time that phone rings, unlike sales, which is, I'm not knocking, I love internet leads, internet sales is fun, but at the end of the day, they're calling in for a car. Like there's not 32 different scenarios, right? However, the complexities that service every single call is something different. And maintenance, I'm on the side of the road. My check engine light, is it dangerous? I'm calling for the part. I just left your dealership and my wheel fell off, et cetera, et cetera. I was exposed to so many different circumstances that I had to factor that in when building my business. I had to factor that into the onboarding process and really walking that new hire through. Hey, listen, it's not personal.
Correct.
When somebody calls the dealership, you are no longer Matt. I'm no longer Shawn. I am Toyota. I am Ford. They don't know if I'm an advisor. They don't know if I'm a tech. What the hell is BDC agent? Like they don't care, man. Like they picked up the phone and whoever answers is the person that needs to solve their problem.
Correct. And I'll go back to the AI thing real quick. When dealerships should sign up for AI and eliminate their people is when they finally get a phone call from AI that sells them AI and no person gets involved. But until we still have people selling AI, we're not 100% there.
I actually like that.
Right?
That should be the soundbite. That should be the soundbite. I actually like that. I never thought of it that way. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, you put a real human on to sell me AI.
Yeah.
Going back to it, you're exactly right. I mean, you talk about the people. We're in the people business. And they want to schedule an appointment. There's metrics that we can talk about till we're blue in the face about how many people call schedule. And I can show you different processes. I mean, we have dealerships where we get a majority of their calls. And so your scheduling percentages are off. We have dealerships that only give us, we have dealerships that we work really well with where they love their people and they didn't want to get rid of their person when they hired us. So they took the young lady or the young man and they said, screen this phone call. And now Bowtie only gets a scheduling phone call. That's it. So we're at almost 100% appointment set rate. The only time it goes off the rails is like, oh, you are booked out for 2 weeks. Okay, hold on. Let me reassess and call my wife and I'll shoot back with you or whatever, and whatever it might be. At the end of the day, we're in the people business and customers just want to, and I loved what you said, you're the guy or you're the gal that needs to fix their problem right here, right now. I don't care what your title is. Somebody trusted you enough to get in a car, drive to work, vote, and pick up the phone and help their business out. So if you're not the competent one, their business probably needs to reevaluate it,
Definitely.
And so that's, and that's one of the things we always tell dealers, when we're looking at working with them is if you've got people in place, like we can work with your full blown BDC, we can just back up your BDC. I'll share this little story. We had a dealership call us up and they said, hey, can you back up our BDC? And I said, sure, no problem. I said, how many calls do you think we'll get a month? They said, not many. You're probably going to get about 200 to 300 calls a month. She does a really good job. I said, excellent. Signed up, onboarded them. First month, 1,295 calls at 295.
For sure. Of course.
1,200. That's a little different than 200 to 300.
That also changes the proposal.
Truth. They're still with us almost 2 years later. Great relationship, great clients. Great partners, really. And but we get a lot of phone calls, and it's still like the numbers haven't changed that much. So my thing is, how many calls were they actually answering? And at the end of the day, like, we come in with that data. Like, I tell dealers all the time, if you don't know that you need us fully or you want us to back you up, put us in for 30, 60, 90 days behind your team. I'm going to show you how many calls they're missing. Because
Yes,
let's say at the end of 90 days, we got a total of 20 calls total. Hey, you got a really good team and you probably don't need us.
correct.
Or maybe you use us on weekends, evenings, and now all of a sudden as a dealership, you only have to hire 9 to 5. I mean,
Yeah. And
that seems like what everybody wants for a job anyway.
yeah. And you know, Matt, you bring up such a good point. If we could just kind of like shift over to, let's talk about like just reporting and metrics. And we don't need to really go down the rabbit hole, but whether it's you doing what you do 30, 60, 90, or whether it's me that comes in because what I do in my discovery, there's like I call it a BDC health questionnaire, right? So that with my experience gives me an idea of, okay, this is what's the current state, this is what's going on, so then we could dig deeper in other areas. But what I truly love, and at the end of the day, to make this thing move forward, is regardless if they go with somebody like you or if they pick somebody like me, we're in the same business of providing clarity. Like, what are we really talking about? Because most BDCs were created for a broad spectrum of reasons. One, just to have one, just to say that they have one at their 2020 groups. Another one, typically in the GM world, forced, well, not forced, but strongly recommended by the manufacturer. And others, it kind of went into it. They were outsourcing and now it's in-house, or they had an in-house one and they came to the conclusion like, okay, this is way too big for me to manage. This person's out, to your point before, this person's always calling sick. This person's always calling sick. I don't know much about BDC. I don't know what to do. Let's just outsource this thing. It's a headache. But be it as it may, reach out to the professionals, reach out to the people that do it. And I'm not speaking, and I'll be humbly arrogant for a moment. I'm not speaking from a place of hubris or ego, but BDC, and I'm sure you feel the same way, but I'll speak for me. BDC is not something that I do. It's something that I am. I legitimately live and breathe this stuff. Granted, I got into the business by accident. I was washing cars 23 years ago, and it was only supposed to be for 3 months. And here I am 23 years later, building BDCs. But at the end of the day, like, we've been in the trenches. I've done tens of thousands of calls. I've messed up so many times to learn what I'm coaching today. And I'm sure you too, through experience, through Bowtie Solutions, it's the thousands and thousands and thousands of calls that we got right and also that we got wrong that shape our strategical approach to even answering their question. For you to even ask them, like, how many calls a month or do you feel you're going to get? How many times have they ever been right?
Never.
But this is what I'm trying to tell you. So I think unfortunately there's this connotation for some reason that they feel that they have to just know everything, but not really understand. If you grossly miscalculate it, it grossly miscalculates our analysis of what we need to offer them, the adequate staffing level that I need to put onto this project. Like 200 to me is one, 1,200 is 4 people. Right. And then all of a sudden we're not working. Right. So I think it's you make it a good point to, it's okay to not know. It's okay to call Matt and say, hey, listen, we're having some problems, whatever it is, half and half. We're looking for an outsource, this or that. Can we just get on a demo call? Can we just learn a little bit about you? Hey, listen, this is our problem. How do you see it? And then take that and go to somebody else and then compare. But getting the information firsthand in order to make, a pragmatic, calculated, strategic business decision, I think is the most important part.
Yeah. I mean, you said it best. You and I have been in this business for a long time. And I mean, 98% of my stuff has always been on BDC. And at the end of the day, I always look at the way that, the customer experience goes from anything I deal with nowadays, right? Anything. There's a company that I recently signed up for us to do payroll through. And when I was onboarding, man, I had the best onboarding team. They were awesome. They answered the calls. They helped me through a lot of questions. It was great to switch to this payroll. Now, when I call in, I get somebody that like has to Google the answers every time I'm talking to them. So I went from the A-list team to the C-list team. And I said to myself, I said to myself, I said, I'm going to make sure all my Bowtie employees are A-listers, right?
Correct.
And you're not going to become a client that, or I like the word partner better than client. You're not going to become a partner here and get A-listers. And 3 months down the road, you're getting the C-list team. That's not going to happen. What you're going to get is, I mean, we train agents all the time. We keep adding additional stores to them and add additional stores. Like right now, some of our agents are handling up over 50 stores. Now,
I was actually going to ask you about the logistics, because that to me is incredible.
yeah, so we have agents that handle up over some that can handle up to 80 stores, but they don't get 80 phone calls at one time, right? They can only handle.
No. I understand, but what I mean is, flipping from Mercedes to Ford in different states and in different geographies and different, like I personally find that kind of incredible.
Yeah, they're quick on their feet. That's one of the things we look for when we hire is they got to be, I mean, because inevitably, you'll be listening to a call and the customer's like, well, I just moved to the area. What are you near? And the agent's like, they got a Google link. They got a Google link right up there. And they're like,
the Texas Roadhouse down the street.
Yeah. Do you know where Sonic is? Oh yeah. Well, right across the street from there, Luckily, most car dealers are within the location of other car dealers. So it's pretty easy to kind of figure that out, but that's what we have to know. And when I tell dealers that, because like when we get ready to go live with a dealer, they're like, well, how many agents do I have assigned to me? You have all of us. Every single, even me, if I'm not scared to get in here and answer the phone, schedule an appointment, you have access to everybody. And the reason why is you're not hiring me to have you tell you, oh, I'm sorry, people are out sick today. And
Matt, you get on the phone.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm so gonna mystery shop you.
I'll know it's you.
You'll know it's you. Yeah. Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, that little Canadian might come out in me.
But all joking aside, I don't handle as many calls as I used to, right?
No. I know. I'm just teasing. We have to tease each other,
Oh my goodness. But yeah, it's because at the end of the day, for me, I don't, like I said, I get on calls, but I get on calls now to experience what our agents are experiencing.
Correct. Yeah, for sure.
Because I can't go out and sell. I can sell the process and I can sell the solution and I can sell the solve. But at the end of the day, like I can't, I mean, we've got stores where I'll just say it like this. We've got stores up in the Northeast. Our employees are in Charlotte. So when we onboard a Northeast store, I have to explain to them, they're not mad, they're direct, right? We've got stores in the Midwest, and the Midwest and the South are very close in how they react. And we actually had 2 Canadian stores for a while. That you want to talk about something we're paying attention. Launched a campaign for them to move their winter tires to their spring tires.
Oh, that's big business in Canada. Let me tell you, my man.
Yeah. Well, guess what? Don't look out the window in Charlotte when you're doing the campaign, because the customer goes, and I give our agent credit. The customer goes, have you looked out the window today? And the agent goes, well, they give me an office with no windows. Why? What can I help you with? He goes, it started.
Oh, that's a good one.
It started snowing. And the agent goes, well, I didn't ask you to come in today. I just said, can we set this up for you? And like, they were just that fast on their feet.
Dialed in.
Yeah, I said to myself, next time we launch a store on an outbound campaign with something weather focused, like we need to Google the weather for the day. Because
by the way, yeah, that's actually so what's interesting to your point is, and this is why I was talking about geography is so important. I deal with a lot of stores setting up service BDCs from the ground up or restructuring, and depending on where they live is really going to govern a priority, right? So here, especially, there's 2 times of the year where legitimately 80% of your customer base all call you within a 2-month window. And that's to put on the winter tires and also to take them off, because the government has imposed a cutoff date.
Yeah.
And those times, or those, 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, it's not uncommon leading up to putting on the tires, because everybody freaks out in like winter. December 1st is the cutoff. It's not uncommon to be almost 3 weeks out at some points in your scheduler. So those kind of calls are tough. Try explaining to someone they have to wait 3 weeks. Even worse, that your next appointment is on December 2nd or 3rd after the law, because they could literally have their car towed. So definitely seasonality is a big thing too. So Matt, listen, let me ask you, with regards to outsourced, let's just do like a rapid 4 or a rapid 5 quick fire questions, legitimate questions that I have. So I'm only assuming that anybody watching this or listening to this definitely will have as well. So one of my first questions, and I'm so happy to be asking you this, but one of my first questions is, who's an ideal dealership to add outsource support? Who's your ideal client? Not you towards them, but them towards you. Who's the person that would reach out to you?
So for us, our ideal client is somebody that knows that they have an issue with either the phones being answered or need some firepower to do outbound calls. They're also the client that is actively engaged in, in their service and growing their service, but they recognize that the cost associated with doing it in-house, because it's not just paying somebody, it's training, it's whatever encompasses that, right? Looking at reports and all that stuff. When you look at a business outside of automotive, for some reason, automotive thinks they should do everything. When you look at a business outside of automotive, what can you control? They can control selling cars and servicing cars. Everything else should be outsourced. And I'm not big on sales outsourced BDC as much, because I believe you really need that. I actually think managers should be on the phone more than BDC agents, because they're the ones that can put a whole deal together and save the time. Come on in. But that being said, the day-to-day, like answering the phone, scheduling the appointment, calling the customer, reminding them that they have, services due, maintenance due, a recall due, whatever it is, man, outsource that. That just needs to be powered by numbers.
Great answer. Thank you. Another question, to me, one of the most important. You were talking earlier on about creating revenue. And at the end of the day, whether it's you, outsourced, whether it's me in-house, at the end of the day, that's really how we're measured, right?
Right.
What's the ROI at the end of the day, right? So there's a CSI or /CSE, depending which manufacturer. Of course, that's ultimately your retention. How happy are they? But at the end of the day, it's about moving metal, selling time, and what was it worth? What did it bring in? So what is the process for you to align the dealership's success, if you will, call it standards, culture, success? How do you align your outbound campaigns, or however you operate, with the dealerships in which you take on?
Best example was, I had a dealer I was at not too long ago, and they're at 55% for their metric, and they want to be at 70%. And this is on the retention side of things.
Sure.
And so that's what we're looking for, right? Now we're going to measure this because they just launched. Now we're going to measure this and see how close we get to that 70% and over. That'd be awesome, right? But that's what we look at. We look at retention. We want to talk to them about CSI. We can look at revenue. At the end of the day, for example, if you take a dealership that has a really dialed in process regarding MPI and upsells, and you put a team behind that runs a campaign for oil change tire rotation promotion, and we fill their drive with 100 appointments, and their advisors are really good at upselling, it's going to naturally increase their revenue. And so that's one of the things that I like to talk to dealers about, is what's the strategy behind this? And that's how we measure it. With regards to answering the phones, most of the time, like you talked about earlier, most of the time they don't know their call volume. So we don't really know where we're starting from. But I always tell our agents, schedule every appointment you can, because if they have full bays, they don't have time to call us and ask us what we're doing. I said, but when they have slow days, they're absolutely analyzing every single thing. And listen,
correct. Yes, exactly. Yes.
And dealers business ebb and flows. I mean, we've had dealerships that, they don't typically get North Carolina, right? They don't typically get snow. The second they get snow, all these people are canceling, and it's a ripple effect, because now all these appointments, it's like an airline. You push them out, you got to push everybody out. We've been able to help dealers with that, where we've just taken the appointments, reached out to them proactively, and we roll them over to the next day and fill spaces.
All right. Well, that definitely pretty much answers up all my questions. That's for sure.
For my last question with in-house, and we both done in-house too. What do you find the biggest struggle is going into 2025 with dealerships that are building their BDCs in-house? And I ask it from a point, not Bowtie going after like not doing in-house, but I wonder if the struggles are the same.
Great question. So it's there's two answers. The first answer is obviously what's on the surface. The main struggle is service at the end of the day. Yes, the result of what we do is fixing cars, maintenance. I get it. But at its core, the purpose of a service department, we're selling time. We're selling time. Mm-hmm. And each operation code has time associated to it. We have a bunch of techs in the back. And 100%, if I fill up 100% of the time, that still doesn't pay the lights, because we just completed 100% of the work. They need to be operating at 110, 120% productivity, et cetera, et cetera. So at the end of the day, it's about selling time. So when the time or when there's empty bays, the shop, we call it shop loading, the shop is not loaded up, it's the BDC's fault, right? But when the shop is doing really good and it's humming and everything's going great, it's not the BDC, right? So I think finding that equilibrium, that balance is still one of the areas of resistance between the BDC and the service department. The second answer I have, that is precisely why I personally have taken on the role of exactly the coach and exactly what I do. Because at the end of the day, I'm not a trainer. I need to make that fundamentally clear. I'm not a trainer. I mean, I can go in and hoorah and rally up the troops and go into your BDC for 1 or 2 days and do this training program. And then I leave. What do you think happens a week, 2, 3 weeks later? It goes right down to what it was. I am a coach. And this is why I actually called my company BDC Alchemy, because it's very much about creating alchemy, which is taking something that didn't exist or taking something that's normal and then making it great. And the only way to do that, first of all, is to empower your employees. As we said before, have an adequate staffing level, performance-based pay plans, streamlined and galvanized processes, and also documented processes. So yes, similar to you, when I go in and help a dealership restructure or actually architect from the ground up. Now, this is not just a 2-3 month thing. What we're doing is we're architecting a business unit. And I fundamentally believe that it is to the BDC managers or whoever's at the BDC, typically speaking, a team leader or a BDC manager, it is their role with regards to accountability to get the information with regards to the inefficiencies or what is going good to the front lines as soon as humanly possible. I've always said it, and I will continue to say it with all of my students. I'm currently right now in 5 stores. I'm managing 5 different BDC managers. I have 5 different stores, 5 different reports in my head. And you know what? I know every single one and where they are. But this is learned behavior. So if someone's going to come into this BDC thing, whether outsourced or in-house, if I may, but if someone's even going to consider having, a career in BDC, they really need to understand the endeavor that they're taking on. It's not a call center. You said it before, guest experience, and it needs to be seamless. Whether it's a hybrid between Bowtie Solutions and BDC Alchemy, whether it's just you guys or whether it's just me, the customer, the end user needs to feel a seamless experience. I don't care who answers the phone. Just help me. So at the end of the day, I really believe that, yes, moving forward in 2025, we're still talking about the same stuff. The goalposts haven't moved, right? Minus a few minor details, but it's still the same argument. So my body of work as a BDC coach is really to take on that BDC manager, take on that team leader, take on that BDC agent, and really walk them through precisely what exactly our core responsibility is. Because, and I'm going to leave you with this, what I tell them and what I tell any BDC person looking at this, in order for you to know very simply if you're doing a good job or not. And that's without someone having to come performance-wise and tap you on the shoulder. But I always say this to my students. If the service manager or whoever you're reporting to that needs information of some kind, because the BDC, don't forget, it's like a hub. It's an incubator of data. Like we're sitting on everything, number of calls, appointments, missed calls, et cetera, et cetera. The list goes on. If they come to you before you go to them based on the data that you're sitting on, you're not doing your job. So at the end of the day, it's about accountability. And whatever, I don't necessarily worry about, what problems are out there. I worry about accountability. I worry about reporting. I worry about streamlined processes and reporting with regards to, it's super important to have documented processes and reporting. Why? Because when something goes wrong, you're going to want to know exactly where it's coming from, that combustion point. However, there's a flip side to that. When something is going right, you also want to know exactly what you did so that you can replicate success. And fundamentally, I fundamentally believe that it's the BDCs, whether it's you leading Bowtie Solutions or whether it's me coaching somebody. I fundamentally believe that we need to take more control of our day to day and stop releasing it to things that are outside of us, like, other people's service manager or what have you. That's where I stand on that answer.
I like it. I mean, it's funny because you and I, it's the same thing, right? It's the same metrics. It's the, like
Correct.
I was talking to our outbound campaign manager this morning, and we've got a whole bunch of outbound campaigns queued up and have had the volume, that need a shot in the arm, whatever it might be. I mean, it was cool. I got a call from one of our stores today. They're like, man, we're ecstatic. We have 96 appointments for today. I was like, awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
And they replaced their BDC with us. They felt like nobody was answering the calls. Clearly, we saw that it was happening. But they also said, but we're down on recalls and we really need you guys to get on our recall list. And we're like, yeah, it's on the list today. 298 customers, automatically going after today for recalls. And we have about another 800 in there that are getting queued up too. The whole point to it is that they picked up the phone, had a 5-minute conversation with us, a little bit of praise and a little bit of constructive criticism. And we're on the same page. And that's what we look for in these relationships. It doesn't matter if they hire you and you build it, or they hire us and we're doing it. If the service manager or if the general manager or if somebody is not communicating what has to be done, then we're missing out, right? Because we know from our side, inbound or outbound, we could do an oil change promotion and fill up the service drive with oil change. But does that help their master techs or their world-class techs out, right? Maybe not. Maybe they need those recalls. Maybe they need other things. But we also have dealers that come to us and go, hey, I just added 2 more lifts and I just need as many express appointments as you can get. Cool. Communication.
Like in any organization.
Exactly.
So. And then you know what? We're communicating so well that, hey, let's just throw AI into this and just make it more complicated. I had to job real quick.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
But it's kind of exciting. I'm actually really excited and concerned at the same time to see where this is going and just the rapid pace that this is taking on. Like it doesn't have to be the be all and end all. I mean, look at when Amazon came out. Oh my God, brick and mortar stores are going to go. No, the ones that are mismanaged and overpriced are going to go down, right? It put some people out of business, but not all people. Look at when Uber came out. Oh my God, all the taxis are going to disappear, especially like in New York. You have yellow taxis everywhere. I still see yellow taxis.
I take a taxi every time I go to Vegas because they get you to the hotel. They know all the back roads better than the Uber drivers.
Correct.
And you don't have to walk halfway across. Like you get your bag and go right outside.
Yes.
So they weren't stupid. They didn't get replaced. And again, taxi drivers.
It's just the bad ones. The bad ones got replaced. That's all it is, really.
That's exactly it. So
yeah, with the green tree air refreshener, like, dude, no, I'm not getting in there, man.
Well, Shawn, I appreciate the time today, and I look forward to catching up soon in person. I know we're going to probably run into each other in a couple months or next month,
July.
So yeah, just if anybody's wondering, we'll give a little shout out to Anthony Alagona and his
yeah, we have to shout out to Anthony. Let's support each other. Yeah. You just do it.
He's doing the appointments that show. It's July 15th and 16th up in Red Bank, New Jersey.
Buyappointmentsonly.com or something like that. Yep. But yeah, Anthony is fire, and he's done just a tremendous job of curating the who's who in BDC. And it's not just discussions and blah, 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 surface level talk. Like last year, your bit was great. My bit was like, we get up there and we're giving actionable stuff. And you know what's the coolest thing? None of us are fighting each other. No. I'm not like, oh, look, there's Matt from Bowtie Solutions. Let me cross the hall because I don't want to talk to him. Actually, we went, we chopped it up. We had dinner together. And now you just introduced me to very expensive wine that I've actually had to budget for. So thank you for that, Matt.
You're welcome. But yeah, I mean, but that's the whole idea, right? Is to get up there and get surrounded by like-minded individuals that are constantly talking about things, because guys like you that go into a store and help a dealership improve their processes is perfect, because you go in, you build a BDC, you build a process. They may reach out to me and go, hey, can you just back us up if we miss it?
Sure. Exactly.
There's a price point that we can just back up. I mean, you look at what it costs to hire just one new employee versus what it could cost to maybe have somebody back you up, and I always tell dealers that we're not here to take anyone's job. We're not here, whatever, we're here to fill the need of where you need us. And we've turned down, we don't do sales BDC. We could probably be double our clients.
Send them my way. Send them my way. I'll do it.
Absolutely. Right. We just don't. I just don't want it because it's two different skill sets.
Yeah, it's a different. Oh yeah, it's a different beast. It's a different beast entirely. Yeah.
We'll catch up, Shawn. And
yeah, thank you so much for having me on the show, Matt. I think this is really important for awareness and for anybody watching or even listening. I mean, look at what's happening right now. We have Matt from Bowtie Solutions, Outbound BDC, Shawn from BDC Alchemy here to coach and build in-house BDCs on the same show, coexisting and having a conversation. And this is exactly what people need to understand. We're not against each other, right? So if they call you for information and perhaps you're just not their cup of tea for whatever reason, people like me, and also vice versa, like I've done. So it's about educating yourself. And I'm just super happy to be here and be able to share my knowledge, man, with all things BDC. So I thank you very much, Matt.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, I'm Shawn, owner and founder of BDC Alchemy Inc. And you've joined me and Matt today on this awesome show. We really want to thank you for coming. For anyone interested in getting an audit or a free health assessment of their internal BDC, I could be reached at Shawn@bdcalchemy.com, or you could visit my website at bdcalchemy.com.
Again, I'm Matt Raymond from Bowtie Solutions. I want to thank you for joining in with Shawn and I today on the webinar. And if you have any questions or would like us to mystery shop your dealership, please feel free to reach out to me. It's complimentary. We'll mystery shop it. We'll record it. We'll provide you the recording, and we'll provide you some areas of what we see that you could have done differently in the phone call. Look forward to hearing from you.